My label is Allswell Music, and it started off as my publishing company. Originally, I wrote and produced music, and when I was encouraged to record my own album, I decided that I would do it through my own company. So after I went around to a few of the major distributors, I kind of I guess got the ear of the guys over at EMI, and they agreed to distribute my independent label. Yeah. It was definitely a bit of a challenge, but I think the important thing is that they feel strongly about supporting independent artists and helping them to establish their own channels in the industry. Now, I guess it's typical of this day and age that a lot of artists are going the independent route, but we still kind of need the guidance and some of the infrastructure that the larger labels have in place. So it's been a good partnership so far. I grew up outside of the country. I spent a lot of time in the United Kingdom. So if you hear this interesting accent, it's actually what I consider a mid-Atlantic accent, somewhere between New Jersey and London. I have to say, my family has been very supportive of me doing this. Once I've set my mind to it, they were like, okay, well, great, we're all on board. As far as influences go, I have to say a lot of the influences that have shaped, I guess, my style and how I view myself in this business have come from the outside. People like Sarah Vaughan and Nancy Wilson, and some contemporary artists like Jill Scott and Chrisette Michele. I think it happens very often that the things that are closest to you are the things that you take for granted. But in terms of, I think there aren't very many female artists who have come around after the 80s who haven't in some way been influenced by the Arethas and the Whitneys. I think we all drink from that cup, and you can hear it, in the talent across the board. So I guess, yeah, I have been influenced to some extent, yes. But my family, I guess the things that I've gotten from them from a musical standpoint is to try to be as true to yourself in the music, to not build up restrictions too soon. As far as the business aspect is concerned, the industry has changed, and it continues to change, and it's changing, it seems, almost faster than it did in years gone by. The important thing is just knowing what's being done on your behalf, and although it's difficult to be an artist and an executive at the same time, I still feel it's important that I know what's being negotiated on my behalf, and to understand what the process is of getting music out there and getting music sold and getting recouped for your work. It is called the music business for a reason, and we tend to forget, the business aspect and focus only on the music. The album Speak Love, Life Lessons, which is coming out on the 28th of September, I sat down and I wrote all the songs on the album except for one. I did one cover song, and working in the industry for the past few years, I've met producers. Greg Pagani, who's one of the producers, he's actually the producer of the single that came out on the 3rd. Greg and I have been friends for years, and we've worked together on a few other projects. Greg has worked with Leanne Rimes and with Babyface, and he has done stuff for 3LW and you name it. And his recent hit is with Charlie Wilson. So I called him up and I said, hey, I need some help in producing some music, and he was just on it. Ivan and Carvin, same sort of thing. I reached out to them and said, hey, I'd like to get some work done, and would you guys mind being a part of this? So it felt really good to have these young legends in the business open their doors to me and say, hey, yeah, we will work with you. We'll gladly work with you, when they could have easily, been working with Patty or with Beyonce, or Jill Scott too. There's probably one or two new producers on the project that I didn't know beforehand. One was a wonderful English guy named Jake Ridley, and I got turned on to Jake's production style through the work that he did with Christina Aguilera. And I was just fascinated with what he did, and I told him I wanted him to work on the title tracks, Speak Love, Life Lessons. And we created some really beautiful music together, and I was so happy with that. And the one song that I did not write and had less of a production role in was the cover tune, Free, which is a cover of Denise Williams' song Free. And that was produced by my musical director, Sheldon Good. I know what you're feeling when we're far apart. I hear you in my arms. And the other ones are the Just for the Taste of It, Just for the Feel of It, Just for the Appeal of It Diet Coke campaigns. I've worked on some of those as a songwriter, as a producer, and as a singer. The jingle route that I took not only afforded me an opportunity to fund this type of project, but it was like a master class in songwriting. A jingle writer has to deliver everything, a strong message in 30 seconds or less. And we have the luxury of doing that in a 3-minute song. So it was definitely a master class in songwriting and production. And I'm happy I kind of went that route because I think I'm a stronger songwriter and producer as a result of that. I'm excited that people are enthusiastic about the music. I've put a lot of my heart and soul in this project. You know, I've been saying to people who've been asking me about the album, you know, it's really a musical autobiography. And these songs are songs that I've written about my own personal experiences. So if people can relate to them and get the message and see themselves in the vignettes that these songs portray, then I'm overjoyed. But in the meanwhile, I just try to focus in on doing what I have to do, and that's writing good music, performing great music, and entertaining my friends that come to see me. I think if I can do that and do that well, then everything else is gravy.